Well, I find interesting that you got your flow, you can switch it up. You can go fast if you want, but even with your flow, like I said, you can get fast with it. But I find an interesting collabo was you and DJ Screw, because
Right.
he would take things down and slow it up. And I was like, man, that'd be kind of interesting, a fast rapper with DJ Screw slowing things down, you know what I'm saying? And how did that even, how'd you guys even link up? Because you got some mixtapes out there with you on,
Yeah.
some DJ Screw.
It's crazy because, man, just my roots coming from I was born in Texas. So but I was raised in the Bay. So I'm born in Texas, and I get to Oakland at 1 years old, and I live in Oakland. And eventually we moved to Frisco to some projects called the Pink Palace in Fillmore. And we moved, and we in the projects for a minute until we moved to Hayward. And so I mean, and after that, that's when my life started. That's when everything got cracking. You know what I'm saying, from Hayward on. But well, and what was you saying about?
Just how you and DJ Screw,
Okay,
because he from
okay,
Houston.
okay. So when I get to Hayward, I'm going back and forth to Houston because I came from Texas. So all my people in Houston, my cousins and everybody out, they in the ward, the third ward, they all through Houston, South, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I go out there and my cousin, like, man, it's this dude named DJ Screw. And he be slowing people music down all the time and shit, you know what I'm saying? And making that shit sound hella dope or whatever. I'm like, oh, for real? So we go to DJ Screw house, and this was like, I think it was like during right when I released my first album somewhere. I think the first Spice One album was out, self-titled,
real early on.
East Bay Gangster, and Welcome to the Ghetto and all of that stuff. Trigger Got No Heart or nothing wasn't out yet or nothing. Before the Menace to Society soundtrack and all that shit. I go there and I'm like, oh, what's up? And he like, what's up? And sitting up there chopping it up, and he pulled out some syrup, and he poured some drink in there and threw a Jolly Rancher up in there and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying, man? And I'm like, let me get some of that shit. My cousin's like, yeah, man, this what we drinking out here, this shit called syrup, blah, blah. I'm like, they drink this shit, I'm sitting there drinking that shit. They looking at me like, how the fuck is he drinking all that shit? And I'm like, I break out the weed. And, the weed I got wasn't no regular motherfucking weeds. I had some fucking fire, some shit that was 3 different colors, orange, purple, and green, and I broke the shit out, and Screw was like, man, what the fuck? He said, what the fuck is that?
This was early 90s, so it wasn't like it was now,
Yeah, it wasn't like it was now.
Yeah.
The only way you was gonna get this shit is from California. Y'all think about, or somewhere, you had to come this way to get that kind of shit. You had to be out in this area, northern Cali, you have to be in the northern part of the West Coast to get that shit because of the soil, and that's the only place you're gonna get it, and they're gonna have to bring it back to there. That's why it was so high in different places. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, shit. I came with the fire. He's like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, it's weed. Because it was, he ain't seen no shit like this.
Yeah.
This is, I'm serious, man. I'm not just making this shit up. Screw's like, man, what the fuck is that? I was like, it's weed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he was like, it's purple and green and orange and shit. I was like, yeah, it's what we smoke in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? We call this shit dank. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, okay, And so I'm like, rolling this shit up, and then I said, man, let me see that shit. What is that? That's the syrup. I said, put it on the blunt. Let's smoke that shit on the blunt. And so, man, we smoked that shit on the blunt. I think like maybe 10 minutes later, we was both asleep right there. I remember waking up, looking up, and Screw was sitting there like he was out. And I was like, damn. I said, that's a fucking fire. And then, you know, but we eventually started recording this shit, you know what I'm saying? He pushed the button and played some shit, and I just started freestyling. So that actual day that happened, and I spit that freestyle, and that tape or CD happens to be just floating around Houston. Everybody know that CD right now.
Yeah, I seen they got. Damn, he had R. Kelly's slowed up on that one.
Yeah.
He had some Ice Cube on there, chopped and screwed. Pretty much whatever was hot. I think he was just like,
and you would have to be on that syrup too. You be on that syrup and you playing hella slow. So you be high or on that. I'm like either one. I'm smoke hella weed anyway. So I'm high and it still sound, but it's hard as fuck. The shit slap. It's just slow. It's like cruising on the corner with the cellular phone. Like I was like, oh shit, like yeah, turn the music up, nigga. So that's cool, man. So we go back. You know, that was like 91, 90. So we ended up kicking it real hard, you know. All at the Screw Shop. I was at the Screw Shop kicking it with SUC Click. We actually did that. What video was that? Mike Jones video.
The one that he blew up off, the one that Mike Jones blew up off of.
We did it in front of the Screw Shop.
We was like, who? Mike Jones? No?
Not that video.
Okay.
It was another one. It was another song. But you know that was a live.
It was up in there too.
Yeah.